Okay, so the number one mistake that people make when they're brand new running interviews, and then Lexi, it's all been emailed to you, so make sure you have the the group interview. You already have it. Okay, is that they're not running an interview, they're running a group presentation. So recapping for the video recording. So you organize them from sharpest to least sharpest before you pre-screen the next people. So they're all in order, sharpest to least sharpest. Someone needs to prep the room. Hey, my name is whatever, Sarah. I'm one of the receptionists here. Or I guess y'all aren't even going to have those anymore. So, hey, I'm an assistant manager here. Or, hey, I'm a key staff member, right? Or you just prep the room yourself, right? So, the main things you want to stress to them, pen and paper, take good notes. Hey, make sure your cell phone's on airplane mode so it doesn't go off during your interview, because obviously that wouldn't look good. Hey, speak up, and hopefully it'll work out for a couple of you. Push away, push away, push away. Then they leave, and then you make sure that your slides are ready to go for your interview, whether it's you have a CD, a DVD, or it's, a keynote presentation, which y'all are going to have as a keynote. Okay, and then everything's ready to go so you can walk in and lay the freaking law down. Everybody with me so far? Yes, yes? Yes. Okay, then you command presence. Right when I walk in, I'm going to shut the door kind of hard. Now, not like, bam, but not like, it's going to be a little, where everyone's like, ooh, the man just entered the room. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Yes. So I'd write that down, a little pull in the door, 1 to 10, like a 7 on hard. Okay, now, then you walk in with your cup, right? And then I say something like, so guys, when I'm in it, I'm going to call your name. And I want you to scoot your chair up real close so you can write on the desk. So, Elizabeth, and we're actually going to do this, okay? So, Elizabeth, okay, let me get you right here in the front middle. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, perfect. Okay, next person, CJ. Let me have you right here. Okay, a little bit more in. A little bit more. Okay, perfect. Okay, all right, Will. Now, all right, and he doesn't have to for time's sake. Now, all right, but what I'm doing too, because I'm not good with people's names, right, is I'm going to put their applications, okay, just like this, right, where I can see their names. So I fan them out where they're sitting based on their – and I can see their names. Does everyone see this? Do y'all need to stand up to look at it? So boom, 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 boom. When I have 2 rows of people, okay, then definitely it's going to be like this, right? And then I'll just put this on top of it, right, so I can still see all their names and see where they're at. Is everybody with me, yes or no? Yes. Okay. Now, why did I have them do the scoot over a little bit? And y'all can go back, okay? But thank you for being my guinea pigs there. Okay, so to establish control, I think it literally has caused me to be OCD too, because see, when you're connecting and you're talking to an audience, you don't want people super far over here, right? Like y'all weren't here this morning, but the way the room was set up, it had two like lines, like aisles. And so I put people so far away that I'd have to literally talk like this to see somebody, and I'm literally ignoring this part of the room. Make sense? So you do want to make sure that you're running your interviews more wide versus deep, right? Do you see how this room is set up intentionally this way, right? When I could have put the desk over there and had it deeper. It's harder to connect with the kids that are 3, 4, 5 rows back. I'd rather have 2 7-person rows than 3, than 3, a 5, a 5, and a 4. Does everyone understand? Yes, yes? Yes. Okay. Now, all right, so 5, 4, and then I think Mike talked about making sure that when you're doing public speaking, your pages are numbered. Did he talk about that? Yeah. All right, perfect. So do you see how now I got to put them up together? Okay. All right, perfect. Now, all right, so yeah, 1 inch over here, right, et cetera. Again, commanding presence. Now, so, all right, I have a couple stances. I literally, like if you watch my, the last interview I ran, Mario was in that interview. I had about 15 managers watching me run a like 6 or 7-person interview. That last interview I ran, literally got a branch manager, right? Even before he branched, that one interview generated at least $85,000 in CPO from one interview. Does that make sense? Okay. And Joe always likes to be like, oh, how I brag about this, right? Literally in South Carolina, the last interview I ran, literally, okay, it had a district manager in it, and it had 2 branch managers. I'm just saying that, like, I only run, like, 1 interview every year or 2, but I'm just telling you that those interviews freaking pop crazy, and if you have run a lot of interviews, you would be impressed with that. Does that make sense? Okay. My point, when I'm running my interviews, I have 2 stances. Okay. So always feet shoulder width apart. Okay, I'm like planted, right? Okay, I have this pose, boom, right? And I'll do like a pivoting with my foot. I'm never moving both my feet. So if I'm standing here running the interview, I'm like, okay, all right. So Elizabeth, what do you think that is? Ethan? All right, DB. They don't have gum in their mouth when they're doing it. But, okay, but mainly thing, I have them my hands are like this, holding the paper, or I do the hand behind the back. Okay, so what do you think that is? Boom, boom, boom. Are you with me? That's it. These are literally my two stances. Bam, bam. Notice hands are always above what? The waist. Like Carmen talked about, and I'm sure Mike said that somewhere in his message as well, right? So, boom, boom. These are my stances. That's it. I'll send y'all my video of me running the interview with Mario's interview. What I'm telling you is that you're just going to be like, dang, I'm just drilling kids. I have my main stances. I'm not impressed. Is everybody with me so far? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to go through the entire interview, but let's see. All right, so to reintroduce myself to you, next up, if you have 2 rows of people, you project your voice to the 3rd row. If you have 3 rows of people, you project your voice to the 4th row. If I have 1, I do it to the 2nd row. You always project your voice to one more further than it needs to be. I'm a loud person in general, so that's not hard for me. But if you're super quiet, you need to be aware of your voice presence, right? Being a little bit loud is going to be more commanding, more in charge. Is everybody with me there? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so to reintroduce myself to you, my name's Trey Harris, and I'm one of the recruiting managers here in Orlando. And that puts me in charge of the recruiting process here in Orlando and the surrounding areas. So I want to start off by reviewing the interview process to make sure that everyone understands what we're looking to get done. Okay, all right, what did y'all get from that right there? How about the music, not the words?
Control.
Right, just powerful, confidence, okay? All right, so with the introduction, let's kind of break down why everything is there. So I want to start off, right, make sure we're all understanding why we're here. Okay, you just went through the pre-screening. It's kind of to like make them like you're in charge, and also to make them understand why we interview the way that we do, because they've never been in a group interview and they feel uncomfortable. Makes sense? So acknowledge the elephant in the room. Okay, so we have hundreds of applicants applying over the last several weeks, and however, I'm not looking to fill a certain number of spots. I'm really just looking to see who would make a great fit. Now, with that being said, right? Okay, whatever. So basically, you're just kind of bam on that. It's more. You're in charge, so I don't get stupid questions. I don't get out of turn. I don't get any questions. You should get no questions, right? There should be a line somewhere that says if you have any questions, write it down. Okay, so it keeps us from bouncing around, right? If a kid ever asks me a question, here's the deal. If you answer every question, then you'll just bounce around all day. You'll never get done with your interview, right? So once you say your line of, hey, if anyone has any questions, write it down, and I'm sure that I'm going to answer it throughout the process. Okay, if for some reason I don't, I'll go over with you one-on-one. That'll keep us from bouncing around and help us all get out on time. Something along there's a line somewhere like that. If a kid asks a question, let's say that Kyle asks a question. So, hey, Mr. Harris, blah, blah, blah. Guys, what do we do with questions? What do we do? All right, y'all are in the interview, okay? So, ask me a question. Okay, blah, 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 blah.
How much does it pay? Write it down.
Good, guys, what do we do when we have questions?
Write it down.
Okay, all right, we're going to go over that a little bit. Now, did you see how I stopped for a second? I'm like, did this kid not freaking hear me? But I didn't say anything to me, right? But it's like, oh, man. And then I don't get on, because if I get on it, then I'm a jerk. See that? George, did you not listen earlier, buddy? Okay, right. Okay, if I did that, I'll just be like, dang, that's a jerk. I don't want to work for him. See you later. Right? Your shoulder training will be awful. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay?
Yes.
So, okay, all right, ask me again.
How much does it pay again?
Now you see this face like, did this kid just do this? Do you not understand life? But I didn't say anything. All right, so here, all right, so I stare. Here, let me do it in the middle so y'all can see better. Ask me something. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Guys, what do we do when we have questions? And here's the deal. You can use the audience to bash kids, and you're never the bad person. You understand, yes or no? Right? And they're competing, right? They're competing for this job. So what are they going to do? Write it down, dude. What's wrong with you, bro? Right? And now I'm not the bad person. Does that make sense? Use your audience to get on it, and then guess what? Nobody else is going to ask another question. Does everyone understand that? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You answer one question, you're going to get many more questions from everybody else in the room. Does everyone understand that? Okay? All right. So that would be that. So, hey, all right. So it says at the last line above the company, right? So I'm gonna cover everything. So to save us time, if you have any questions, I ask that you hold them to the end. In fact, right, you can even write them on your notes, blah, blah, blah. Don't ask me questions. Okay? So the reason, again, is to make sure that you get out on time. All the questions they're going to ask, you're going to go over anyways, hey, and it makes sense. Everybody with me? Yes, yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Company part. Okay, basically, what's the purpose of the company page in your demo? To establish credibility. It's the exact same thing here. So I'd write company, so introduction, if you want to make note beside it on here or on your regular notes, doesn't matter to me. On the introduction is to establish control, just like in the pre-screen, but also to make them feel comfortable with the interview process. So they're not like, this is weird. Why is everybody 18 to 22? Why are we in a group, right? Why this? Why that? It just pops it all. So now everybody feels comfortable with the process. Make sense? So control, understanding the process. That's the purpose of your intro. Your company page, same as it is in the demo, to establish credibility. So basically, just let them know that we've been in business for a really long time, since 1949. Okay, we have 19 million customers, right? And then a lot of growth. Now, when you're going to ask questions, everybody get this. So we're on page 2. Everybody on page 2. So it says, okay, so Vector Marketing is a marketing arm for Cutco, which was started in 1981. Now, everybody look up for me. To give you a little bit more insight, Vector in 1981, we had 3 offices, which did $750,000 in sales. Last year in 2016, we had over 300 offices, and we finished over $250 million in sales. Yeah, this year we're expected to have our best year ever. Okay, and we're already up about 15% over last year. So, Jeremiah, what do you notice a lot of?
Development.
Okay? Development and growth. My point that you want to get down is you want to always ask their name or say their name before you ask a question. So you never want to do this. Here's what new kids do all the time. So what do you notice a lot of? Will. And then Will says, can you repeat the question? Every freaking time. Okay, so you always say their name first. Anyone that run interviews, you're getting it. Okay, now, so you always say their name first, and then you ask the question. Is everybody with me? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do something. Give me a wrong answer, Jeremiah. So what do you know, Jeremiah? What do you notice a lot of?
Candy.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Skylar? Growth, right. Yeah, for sure. Okay, what did y'all just get from that? Now, I'm not going to get on and make him feel bad. I'm just going to be like, okay, not exactly what I was looking for. Anyone else want to help him?
Is that?
Okay, oh yeah, definitely. Does that make sense? Okay, so not exactly what I was looking for. Okay, like not what I was looking for. Okay. Candy. Right? No, you don't do it, right? Okay. So I was like, okay. Anyone else want to help them out? Does everyone get that? Yes or no? Say their name before you ask the question when you don't get the response that you're looking for. By the way, get this. Everybody look up. If you get a bunch of people answering questions incorrectly, you're not asking them right. This is next level that you cannot possibly understand until you've run at least 5 interviews. Okay. If they're getting even 15%, 10% of the answers wrong. If you ask 10 questions, okay, and they get 2 wrong out of the group, then you're not asking them right? So what it could be, right? So I could say something like, yeah, we went from 750,000 in 2016, and then in 2000 or whatever 1981, and last year we went to 250 million. Okay, and this year we're 20% up over last year. Hey, so what do you, Kyle? What do you notice a lot of? Growth. And I can use my hand to tell them the answer. Does everyone get that? Use your body to help them answer it. here's the deal too. If your kids are getting a bunch of questions wrong, and then you hire them at the end, they know that they didn't earn the job, and then it's going to hurt your show to training. Does everyone know that you get that, right? So I'm going to drill these kids. I'm going to drill them, but I'm going to ask the questions where the least intelligent person in the room knows the answer. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay. And then I answer a bunch of questions right in the interview. I'm the applicant. I'm nailing it. And I get the job at the end. I'm like, freaking earned that. Dang right I did. Go home. Let me go brag about it. I'm freaking coming in. I'm going to have a lot of phone numbers. I'm about to crush this because my confidence is high. And I earned it. I competed and I earned. No one wants a handout. Does that make sense? And if you're not drilling them in an interview, right, like this was called drill for skill when y'all were up here, right, then you don't deserve your A if it was nothing. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay, so maybe the kids earn it. But never like in a jerk, though. Does that make sense? I'm never like jerky. Y'all saw how I did it, right? One more person give me a wrong answer. So, Shauna, what's 1 + 1? Okay. All right. Not exactly what I was looking for. Anyone else?
2.
2. You're right. Definitely. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Did you see that? Okay. All right. Question real quick.
Like you say, that's what before.
Yes. I literally just everything that you see me do is exactly what I do. Make sense? So yeah, not exactly what I was looking for, Thomas. Can anyone else help him out?
3.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Make sense? Okay. Now, and here's the deal too. Like it's never mean, but it's never like, oh, like you don't want to coddle them, right? Oh, hey, that was a really good effort, Kyle. Thank you for participating and answering. Okay, but that's not quite what I was looking. Is there anyone else? Are you with me? Okay. All right. So, okay. Not exactly what I was looking for. Can anyone help him out? You see, like I'm confused. Like, can someone? Right. Okay. All right. Right. Yeah, CJ. Right. And when you watch my interview recorded, you're gonna be like, it was very obvious. Okay. Now, and you're running your interview for your sharp kids. Write that on your regular notes. You're running your interview for your sharp kids. Here's the deal: 80-20 rule. I'm running that interview for the 20% of the people in that room that are going to be studly studs or studly studettes. Okay. Now, if I have 3 sharp kids, right, and 5, average kids, I'm kind of like, hey, let me give you a chance and see how well you do, right? I'm going to ask 80% of the questions to these 3 kids. So why do you think, CJ, why do you think that is? Okay. Kyle, why do you think that is? Okay. All right, Michael, why do you think that is? Okay, CJ, then I'll throw a little left field one. So what's 1 + 1? Right? Okay, so CJ, what do you think? And you're going to realize what questions are more difficult to answer and what ones are just like no-brainer ones. I'm going to ask the no-brainer ones to the not super sharp kids. And the sharp kids, I'm going to give them the toughest questions. Does everyone get that? Yes or no? Okay? So don't ask everyone the equal amount of questions. Okay? I'm trying to recruit the sharpest sharp kid. I'm trying to get the talent. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay? All right. The product section. Understand your product section is the opposite of a demo. On the product section on a demo, you cut the penny and you're like, isn't that awesome? Blah, blah, blah. Right? You do the complete opposite here. A sharp kid can tell if someone's trying to sell them. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay? So what you want to do, it's like the passive confidence, right? So I'm like, okay, so these are our shears, right? And I'm going to cut the penny in half. So how do you think that the customers react to that? Okay. Yeah, they're pretty impressed. Did you see that? Okay, I'm going to do that again. You ready? Okay, so does anyone have, I wonder if we have some up here. Anybody got some shears? Yo, anybody got a penny? I do. Yo, hand me a pair of super shears over there.
Hi, my super shears. Bam, here.
It's in the Siggy, right?
Oh.
Bam.
Got it, Jordan.
We're good. So, all right, so everybody film me on it. Okay, so guys, yeah, this is just a regular penny. Why do I drop it on the table? So they see it's a real penny. Why do I not ask them for a penny? Raise your hand if you were drawn up the interview where you ask them. You're like, does anyone have a penny? And then you're like sitting here freaking twiddling your thumbs, waiting for kids. Kids don't even have cash anymore. They say it's stupid. They're like, oh, I guess we're looking for a job. Right? It's just a waste of time, not necessary, right? So I have a regular penny, right? And these are our scissors. I'm not going to call it super shears. That's fancy selling. I'm not trying to sell. Do you see what I'm saying? So just a regular penny, right? And these are our shears. Okay, so how do you think that our customers react to that?
Shy.
Right? Okay. Yeah, the products are pretty good. Boom, boom, boom. Did everyone see that? Yes or no? Okay. So it's like that's your whole thing. You let them sell themselves on it. Did everybody see that? You like the Mr. Miyagi snatch? Okay. All right. Cool. That takes practice. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, it takes practice, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now, I've been working out with Jeremiah, so it gets a little easier. Now, all right, is everybody with me so far, though, right? But you're not gonna be like, and it comes apart, right? So what's the tone? So it's like, yeah, and the shears come apart for easy cleaning. So when they use them outdoors or indoors, they can just throw them in the dishwasher. You see this? Do you see that? Right? That's the music, right? The music is my stuff is freaking awesome, but I already know it. Make sense? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay, so just know that are new recruiters, they usually go off on the products wrong because you're thinking a demo. Make sense? Okay, all right, you with me? Yes, yes? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So you cut through the penny. Now, okay, so now we're all on page 3. All right, how do you think the customers react? We went over it. Now I'm going to show the steak knife. Now, so that's the only knife we're going to show them. We don't. All that they need to see in the product section is that the products are good. Period. That's it. Cut the penny, cut leather. That's it. We used to do rope. We used to do all these different things. We used to show them the fishing knife, right? All this stuff, not necessary, right? Let's cut the fluff. Let's make this interview about 35 minutes, which is what it is now. Okay. Now so the steak knife. Okay. So what's the most important thing that a knife should do, guys? Right. Exactly. Cut. Now the way that you cut the leather. Okay. Is there any cutting board anywhere? Y'all see a cutting board anywhere? Okay. Actually, I don't even need a cutting board. Huh? Dude, you're freaking good. You're making up for that interview. By the way, I just love giving Jeremiah a hard time. Now, I actually wake up every day and I'm like, how can I give Jeremiah a tough time today? Now, not really, I don't. But. Okay, so either way, right, I would probably just put it on the table like you do your demo and let them cut through it with their Walmart steak knife that doesn't work, right? And I would say, okay, let's try the Cutco one. Let's just say hypothetically that this was, what if I do have one in here? Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, all right, so let's go CJ. And I'm always going to have the sharpest kid in the room cut, just so you understand. Okay, all right, and then I'm going to pull it tight, start at the back, pull it through in one. Okay, pretty simple. Yes, yes? Yep. Okay, and I'm going to walk up to another sharp kid. Okay, and what I want you to do is just hold it still. Okay, don't move it at all. Okay, I'm going to get you started. And you can tell when it's about to split. And I'll push straight down. Okay. All right, so products are pretty good. All right, so you feeling me on that, yes or no?
So we're still doing the crappy knife.
Okay, I definitely let them cut through it with the Walmart steak knife. For sure, I want them to do that. I don't know if it says it in there. Look at it and let me know. Okay, so I do want them to see what a normal life does. So I would do a normal Walmart steak knife on the table where you pull it and they saw through it. So then they see ours and it's impressive. Does everyone get that? Yes or no? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I'm going to do it in the air and hold it and let them book. Okay. Christina, go ahead and text me Walmart steak knife, please. Now, all right. So everyone gets that? Yes, yes? Jeremiah, there you go, homie. Thank you. All right. Now, all right, cool. Yeah, our orders range anywhere from $30 to over $3,000. Our national average is $300. Okay, with a 60% sales ratio. So what that means is that 60% of customers, when they see the product, they make a purchase. Now, the product is the main attraction, not a representative skill. See, in bold are your more powerful paragraphs. Does everyone get that? Bolded power paragraphs, highlighted questions, so you can know to say someone's name at the beginning. Okay? Now, the products are a main attraction, not a representative skill. It doesn't matter whether someone has experience or not. Customers like Cutco because what they see it do. That's why we don't need people who are experienced in sales. We're looking for someone who communicates effectively with the customer, okay, and that the customer would enjoy meeting with. In fact, okay, how many of you would say if someone else just cut the penny for you, hey, would you have been any more impressed if someone else did it? No. Again, people are impressed because of the product. Now that line, that whole paragraph basically says, hey, you have no experience at all, and that's okay. The products are the main attraction, not you. Does everyone get that? Yes or no?
Yes.
right? Have you all had a kid this summer that wasn't intelligent or sharp, like a very, like, we'll call it a C-plus kid, right? But he still sold a decent amount? Yes or no? All of you have that kid in your office, right? Okay, so it really okay. Now, all right, y'all are like, I have some of your peers in here. You're like, yeah, you were that kid. You were that kid, right? Hey, here's the deal. Okay, the bottom line is that you really don't have to be smart to sell Cutco, right? You just need to be able to have decent work ethic. Make sense? Yes? Okay, all right. Now, can one of y'all find the cord to that? Michael, can you find that cord and let's get that thing on? Like burning up in here. Now, let's see. Hey, what managers are outside? Yo, cut the AC temperature down lower so it gets colder, will you? It's in the interview room. If that thing is not, it's in the interview room by the front desk. Okay? Tell me what it was on too. If someone cut that thing back up, I'm gonna get them. Now, okay, so does everyone get that? Yes, yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, market. Now, we have a market niche, what's an advantage, blah, blah, blah. All right, we're focused on HM3s. Don't shy away from that, right? We're seeing HM3s. Understand this, guys. Every company in the world has a target audience, right? If I am selling Budweiser, who am I targeting, males or females?
Males.
Males, okay? So where would I advertise?
Yes, yes.
Right, okay, like sports channels and stuff, right? Okay, if I'm marketing, women care products, right? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sell that to a man. Does that make sense, right? Like Neutrogeners, I don't know, some face cream stuff, right? Okay, I was trying to think of some stuff, okay? Now, I would be marketing that on, like, Lifetime. Does that make sense? Okay, what was it on?
Put it down to 68. She's in military.
Okay, good. That's good. That's good. Okay, thank you. All right, cool. So marketing, we see HM3s. Why? Because they cook and make money. Okay? Don't shy away from that. Now, don't make them think that they have to see rich people, though. Understand that, right? Okay? As long as they're seeing people, homeowners, married, over 30, why do we see them? They cook more, they're financially stable, right? Those are two words when they ask questions that I say. So maybe you would write that to the side. Cooks more financially stable. Cooks more financially stable. Cooks more financially stable. Okay, then we get into the scheduling, right? Now, so the scheduling, right, you're letting them know the appointments take 45 minutes to an hour. Now, some of you, I want you to understand, if your appointments take an hour and a half or 2 hours, from like when you like start reading, open up your book, to when you fill out your order form, then you have added so much stuff in there that you're selling actually way less, okay, because you're boring them and you're dragging out the process. Now, if you open that book, and you read that dang manual, that thing's going to take about 35 minutes to say, do you want a homemaker and get the shears for free? Does everyone get that? Okay? Especially a new kid that doesn't even know how to build rapport. Hi, are you ready, Mom? Okay, well, hey, the company start. Does that make sense, right? Your demo gets longer the longer you add stuff. The longer you've been around, you keep adding stuff, and then you need to dumb it back down and go back to your fundamentals. But my point, okay, is that if yours takes a long time, some of you, I guarantee in this room, book your demos 2 hours apart. Okay, don't feel uncomfortable like you're being dishonest anywhere when you say an appointment takes 45 minutes to an hour. Does everyone get that that is absolutely accurate as heck? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, now, okay, right, the flexibility. So the way, that way we are flexible with our students and schedules and ensuring that they're earning the amount that they need for their bills and savings. You need to make sure that in the fall and spring, especially with that scheduling part, maybe I'd write school comes first. Maybe write down the side, school comes first. So wherever it says scheduling to the right, school comes first. Right? Understand, guys, our part-time reps, think about what you really do, even though a lot of times y'all feel overwhelmed. And I'm not like knocking what you do, but what I'm saying is that if a kid does 5 appointments in a week, realistically, they probably put a maximum of 10 hours into that. Right? And with an hour and a half, that included their phone time. Okay, so we're talking about in 2 hours of meetings, an hour and a half team meeting in PSP, 12 hours. Does that make sense? Okay, most people that are working part-time are working 20. Does everyone get that? Okay, so, but anyways, super flexible, blah, blah, blah. We start off with our, okay, so training. First, we have our appointments. Our representatives, we allow them to do their first appointments with people that they know and feel comfortable with. So just family and friends. So I'm going to use a really soft tone there, when I'm talking about, we start with, family and friends, people that, representatives know and feel comfortable with, right? Friendly, not scary. Friendly, not scary. Friendly, not scary. So, Issa, why do you think that our representatives really appreciate that we pay them to practice with people that they know and feel comfortable with?
So they can get good practice and feedback.
For sure. Good practice and feedback. Anyone else? That was the answer that I was looking for, but I want 5 answers, really. It doesn't have to be 5. Don't write 5. But I want multiple answers on why we see family and friends. Okay, anyone else? Why do you think we start off with family and friends? Okay, way less stressful, way more comfortable. Builds confidence. That's exactly right, Will. Anyone else? Okay, yeah, absolutely. Get the repetition, get the kinks worked out, right? Definitely, I'd agree with that. All right, everyone see that there? Right, so it's not just one person answer there. So maybe what you want to write is what it says, where at the bottom of the page where it says feel comfortable with question mark, maybe you write multiple answers, okay? And who am I looking at specifically when I'm talking about feeling comfortable? Nervous kids, okay? All right, maybe you should start thinking about why every question's there and who we should target, right? Who am I targeting? So I would find the kid that has the lowest confidence and self-esteem, okay, that's scared of their own shadow. Like, so, why do you think that, sweet little baby? Yes, that's exactly right. Great job. Does that make sense? Are you with me? Okay, but you are going to, when you're asking that question, you want to make sure you're tailoring to that person, okay? Now, okay, so recommendations, okay? So we're all on page 5 now. Okay, yeah, the next question, all right, so, okay, recommendations. Okay, so the next question, if a product is good, how does someone usually hear about it? Okay, yeah, exactly, word of mouth. Now, let's see, Chris, why do you think word of mouth advertisement is so powerful?
Because it's the word around socially.
Okay, all right. So to elaborate a little further, why do you think that, let's say that you saw a commercial for a product and it said the product's really good, and then you have one of your best friends and they said, hey, I have this product, it's really good, you should get it. What would get you more likely to purchase the product, the commercial or your friend?
Your friend.
Why is that?
Because they're more
Right, because of the trust factor, exactly. So yeah, we work on the same format, blah, blah, blah. Is everyone with me there, yes or no? Okay. It should say something there, yeah, the trust factor, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the good movie example, right? So that's what I would use there, the movie. Now, we do not do any telemarketing, cold calling, or door-to-door sales. So we train our representatives how to ask for recommendations at the end of each appointment, blah, blah, blah. So again, bold, powerful when you are going over the bolded parts. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's make an example. If a rep did 10 appointments, averages 5 to 10, boom, they'd have 50 to 100 people to see. Right, let's use an example of 50. So let's see someone, right? Okay, 250, 500. I'm only giving 2 examples for people who've run a lot of interviews before, 10 and 50. I have no friends, right, so I'm decently social. Does that make sense? All you have at least 100 phone numbers in your phone right now of contact. So understand why we did 10 and 50. Okay, and the whole purpose of the recommendations and showing them that if someone starts off with family members, church members, neighbors, parents, friends, parents, and let's say that someone had 50 people to start with. Well, if they average 5 to 10 recommendations, that's going to give them 250 to 500 recommendations. Now, never is someone going to do 250 to 500 appointments in a week. Okay, so what we're going to teach them is how to narrow it down to their best prospects. What's the whole purpose of that and showing them the recommendations? What's the purpose?
So they know they have more to see.
Right, so they don't think, I'm going to run out of people, I'm going to run out of people, I'm going to run out of people. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you've ever felt like that yourself, by the way, then you need to get your page 15 done. Just that simple. So I literally had over 3,000 people in Raleigh, North Carolina that I was never even had time to call, right? That's my recommendations. Does that make sense to everybody, right? So if you're not at least at 500 right now, that would be something that I would be striving for you as an individual sales representative. Does that make sense? Okay. So some people like Issa have over 1,000 recommendations right now, right? Okay. How many recs do you have altogether?
Probably about 1,200.
Okay. 1,200, right? Okay. So my point is that if you're not in that boat right now, okay, then we need to get ourselves in that boat Okay, so you can be in that situation as well where you're just only calling the ones that you think are going to buy the most stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, why did I ask that question? Okay, because it's important for you to know that if you are the person in the room, right, it's like, oh, I only have like 100 or 150 people, right, then maybe you're not going to have the conviction that someone else would have, okay, saying that, yes, after you do 50, now y'all all average 5 to 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like, right, okay, so then you end up with that, right? Okay, and then when you call them, some people never answer, et cetera, right? So we're not saying that you could literally do 500. We're just saying that you're going to have more people than you would have time to go see. Does everyone understand that? Yes, yes? Okay. All right, now. Okay, so that's that. Now, page 6, okay, the pay. Understand, why do people show? All right, back to your random notes, like random tips. Training and pay and perks, right? Well, you know what I would even say? Actually, I would go, if I could only pick 3, I think it's training and pay, okay, and post, a genuine post. But as far as the training, they have to be very clear on how the job works. As far as the pay, they need to be very clear on how they get paid. Why? Okay, what did y'all all say when you got home after your interview? You went home to mommy and said what? Mommy, I what? I just got a new job today, right? And she said, what is it? I sell knives. I don't know the exact question your mom asked, but it's probably, well, how do you do the appointments? Oh, well, I see family. Well, you only know so many people. How does it work after that? I don't remember. Oh, I don't know if you can do that, sweetie. You only have lived here for a couple of years, blah, blah, blah. You see how that could talk a kid out of coming to training right there? Or how do you get paid? Well, I mean, it's $14.50 for each appointment. I can make more on commission. I don't really understand how the exact commission works, though, but I know that I could maybe make more. Do you see these questions? If the kids can't answer these 2 questions that you know that mom's going to ask when you get home, right, they need to be able to answer these 2 questions. You understand? So you want to go very, very clear there. In that post, they need to feel genuinely excited and accepted that you really want them on the team. And sometimes you have to be a good finder. We're going to go over the post at another prep. Now, as far as this pay, very clear, okay? Very, very clear. You don't want to say, well, if you sell $1,200 your first weekend at the first 1,000, that's a 10%. And that means 10% of 1,000 is 100. So you'll make $100 there. But then the other 200 was at 15%. So $200 at 15% is $30. And you add that to the 100, now you get 130. What in the heck? You just confused the heck out of 99% of society. Does everyone get that? Right? So it literally needs to be like this. If a representative does 10 appointments, oh, by the way, next tip, if I ever set my notes down, you always set them down face down. Right, I don't want the kids reading my notes. They're not going to anyways because I own the room, but the point is, always face down. You with me? Yes? Step straight from your cow. Okay, now, all right, so what was I saying? Oh, okay, so let's say Rep A goes out and they do 10 appointments. Well, they're guaranteed $14.50 for each appointment. So they're guaranteed $145 on the base pay no matter what. Let's just say hypothetically they make $100 on the incentive. Well, which one are they going to keep, the 100 or the 145? The 145. Why? Because it's higher. Let's say that Rep B goes out and they do 20 appointments. Well, they're guaranteed $290. Let's say that they earn $640. It's a random number, $640 on the commission side. Which one are they going to keep?
640.
The 640. Why is that? Because it's higher. Does everyone understand? Our representatives are guaranteed $14.50 for every appointment, and they have the opportunity to make a lot more on the commission side. As a matter of fact, 85% of my team makes way more than the base pay. I don't know if those are your exact words there, okay, but I want you to understand the clarity of it. Does everyone get that? Yes or no? Okay. Now, well, let's go through it. Now, it's going to be on the slide, all right? So I'm going to say when a rep is, so let's kind of go through this, right? So appointments, so it's $14.50 for each appointment. And again, how long does an appointment take? That'll be a group question. So maybe write group beside again. So group question. So again, how long do the appointments take? Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour. So to go over a simple example, if a rep chooses to do 10 appointments in a week, well, they would earn $145. Let's say that someone did 20 appointments. They're guaranteed $290. If they did 30, then they're guaranteed $435. Again, hey, they're paid weekly, and the base pay is $14.50 for each appointment. Now, each appointment does need to be with a person who's at least 30 years old and works full time. CJ, why do you think that is? Why would I not pay someone to see a 12-year-old unemployed person?
Because they couldn't afford the knives or have a need for them.
Exactly. A 12-year-old boy with no job is not going to be the best customer or give us good feedback. Now, each of these appointments are one-on-one, not in a group. So that rep, so that the rep and the customers feel comfortable and more relaxed. Now, the incentive pay, all right, and by the way, did you see how I lost my spot for a second? What did I do?
Pause.
Just pause until I find it. You don't need to say okay, or right? Now, the incentive pay is designed to reward our people for their extra effort and based on results. So incentive pay starts at 10%, okay, and works its way up to 30%. Now, it is based on career sales. So when a rep is brand new, and I'm like pointing at the TV with my little clicker thing, right? Okay, from 0 to 1,000, they make 10%. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So I'm just going to read it. Once they're at 10K, they make over 30%. Okay, now that is based on career sales, so it is cumulative, and it means that a rep can never go backwards. Doesn't restart every month or every year. Once a rep has sold $10,000 in their entire life, they'll be at 30% forever moving forward. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. All right. Question on that?
Well, I was wondering, do you still using for them so they can
Yeah, I would never write anything on the board. That's what we did in the 90s. Okay, so I'd always have a TV. Y'all not have a TV in yours?
We do.
Okay.
Break it down too as well.
All right, it should be in your keynote now. We have a new slide to go with that. Okay. Yeah, you should never have to write on the board for anything. Okay. Now, okay, so, all right, so who remembers earlier the average order? Okay. All right, so just make it very clear. So it's like if someone was at 10% and they had a $300 sale, then they'd make $30 versus the $1,450. The company always pays the higher amount, not both. If someone's at 3K, from 3 to 6K, they make 20% on $300, or they would make $60. Again, okay, blah blah blah. If they're at 10K, they make $90. Again, they'll always keep the higher of the two. Does that make sense? Just make sure you're very clear and not confusing on the pay. So I'd write clear, no confusion. Clear, no confusion. Clear, no confusion. Everybody with me? Yes, yes?
Yes.
All right, beautiful. Now, okay. All right, so, all right, page 7 is the same thing. Now, with the training. All right, so let me review how our training works. You keep that enough? Yeah. I was about to say it maybe finally died. All right, so let's review how our training works. There's 3 parts of training. Okay, make sure that you're stressing. Okay, now why do we say like at UCF you can get 3 hours college credit? Why are we saying that? I mean, it's a fact, but what else? Credibility. Kids nowadays think like an internship is something that's really important. Okay, even if it's not either way, some things it is necessary, but majority of things it's not necessary. Okay, now either way, so internship credit adds credibility. You're going to pound that there is no upfront cost, because if you did look at Vectors of Scam, that'd be the first thing they would say is you have to pay it for your sample kit from back in the 90s. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, all right. Now, don't be shy with the training part where you say you don't get paid for training. Don't beat around the bush for that. For sometimes people are, the phrase right here was either, because it's training for a kind of college accredited, our representatives are independent contractors, right? 2 days. And then it says our management staff is spending 2 days with them to help them make much more than the base pay. So basically what I'm saying is you don't get paid for training and I don't get paid to run it. I'm spending 2 days with you to teach you how to make a lot more than $1,450. That's like what I'm saying here. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
But don't shy away from anything that you may feel uncomfortable. You don't get paid for training. This ain't McDonald's. Does that make sense? You don't get paid to go to school either. You don't get paid to do anything that you're putting your time into to make you better in the future. You should be paying us. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, all right. So understand that. So the you need to make sure that you're like hard on that. You don't get paid for training. So there's no confusion on that later. Okay. Now, all right. So we do you go through your training, then you have your practice appointments. Okay, and then you have your ongoing training, okay, where you can get better. All right, your perks. So this is your close. So we're all on page 9. So understand that the perks section is your close. As a sales rep, you need to memorize what? Your close and your recs. Your close and your recs. So what you need to realize now from a manager, your recs are PRs. You understand? Those are my PRs, right? Those are my recommendations, right? Without PRs, my business will die. Understand? Okay, raise your hand if you're a PR. You heard about the job from a friend, right? We would die without y'all. Okay? Now, all right. So my point, most important part of your business, okay? So the perks, right? So, hey, the sample kit program, right? The pay, right? And understand your sharpest kids are usually not caring about the pay. It's more about the experience. So I always end on experience. At the end of the day, hey, well, I do feel like from me being a 35 or 36-year-old man, I know that the most important thing for these kids is experience, right? Some of y'all make a lot of money and you also spend a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? But the experience you cannot spend, right? Okay, we are the best thing for you, period. And I want to know that, and I will crush that. I will squat. I'll do mine for you in a second. Now, all right. So the team, right? Raise your hand up. For merchant was your first or second. All of us almost. Are you with me? Merchant was my first too. We're all about the team. We love the team, right? Okay, and I love my team, right? Okay, unicorns, butterflies, right? Okay. What the heck? All right, yeah, the team is awesome, right? But I want to really go hard on the experience. Okay, some people want back in the day, a lot of times the kids wanted to end it on the team, right? Because that's what they were the most passionate about, right? You should make yourself and understand that the most important thing is the experience for these kids. Does that everyone get that? Okay. Yeah. So the team, right? Your circle of influence, hanging out with the right people. Okay. Now the experience. I feel that no matter what. No matter how much experience it's someone, or no matter how much money someone makes, the most important thing is experience. Now, mine's going to be completely not descriptive. Okay, I don't even know what. All right, here's what I'd say. Remember, I haven't run an interview since Mario's, which was like 2 years ago, right? But mine would go like this. You know, I'll just look up. Don't even worry about the script. Okay, so my team in unicorns. Okay, now, no matter what. The most important thing that someone would gain working with me in our company by far is experience. Money comes and goes. Experience will stick with our representatives forever. Now, CNBC, according to CNBC, only 22%, and y'all don't worry about writing stuff unless Elizabeth wants to. She's the only one allowed to, okay? According to CNBC, only 22% of 2016 college graduates got a job. Why is that? Because all of their resumes look the same. They say I did fast food, I worked in restaurants, I did retail. What does that really say to me? Yeah, I work in fast food. I can show up on time and do what I'm told, right? At least if someone works in a restaurant, at least if they were a bartender or waitress, they had to build rapport. Okay, so at least they're like good at making connections with people, because if not, they wouldn't get tips, right? And then retail, it says I can fold my clothes, right? And at the end of the day, someone needs to do these jobs. But when everyone's resumes look the same and they're applying for jobs, well, they're all going to end up in the same pot. My kids get experience that's going to stick out, specific, measurable results. So my kids, okay, just on the third day or the second day of training, their resume says, I work with a $250 million international marketing firm. I went through a 2-day professional business and sales seminar. I generated my own lead bases. I conducted many of hour-long face-to-face appointments, okay, with adults. I sold over $12,000 worth of Cutco. I earned 4 pay raises my first month on the job. See, my kids' resumes stick out. My kids get jobs. So if anyone was selected to work with us, you see that push away, right? So if anyone was selected, I even push them.
Ooh.
Right? Right? If anyone was selected to work with us, okay, these kids are going to get jobs. My kids get jobs. Something like that. Does that make sense to everybody? Are you with me? Okay, now, here's the deal. None of you will possibly have that conviction that I have, right? But if you have been around for a while, I bet you've seen kids that worked with our company, the kid that quit within a month, and I don't know if y'all are Facebook friends, maybe you friended each other sometime during that month, and now they've graduated, and their life sucks, okay? And I'm not trying to bash stuff. I'm just being blunt as heck with you from someone that graduated college in 2004. Do you see what I'm saying? right? And this trained over 10,000 people. I see what is successful and I see what's not successful, right? Okay, and I'm telling you right now, okay, that these kids need us, right? Okay, and this is the most important thing. You need a freaking plan like that on that. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So then, all right, so you go up on the experience, right? What are people looking for is experience. Okay, all right. Now, those are the details of the position. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I hand them an acceptance criteria sheet. I tell them to fill it out. All right, not right now. Okay, I'm going to hand them the acceptance criteria sheet. Okay, I'm going to have them flip it over on the back. The 3 questions I have them write down. Now, if you ran over 100 interviews, 100, okay, and you don't like my 3 questions, then you don't have to do my 3 questions. Okay, for everyone else, you all need to do these 3 questions. If you've done 100, my 3 questions make sense, right? So the first thing I do is I tell them to flip it over on the back. So I hand them, I have them fill out here's your acceptance criteria sheet, okay? I make them check the yes/no questions, okay? Now, I have them check the yes/no questions, and I watch them check their yes/no questions because one of the questions says, like, if you got a job, would you want to work here? It says it nicer than that, but that's what it says. If someone clicks no or checks no, then I know that's the first kid I'm going to pull out because I don't want to walk out of the room later and then the whole sheep effect and other people walk out. Does that make sense, right? So, and some people are not as confident. They want to spread people out. So what if someone said no? Here's the deal. Okay, if I have 100 people in interviews, I'm going to, at least 98 of them are going to want the job. And I know that at least as a division with thousands of people in data, right, then it's 95%. Does that make sense? So don't worry about that, right? I want to see if anyone checks no. Does that make sense? Check the yes, no. When you're done with the yes, no's, flip it over on the back. And I just pause. And I wait. And I don't hand each of them one either, by the way. Here's your acceptance criteria. Here's yours. Here's your, right? Okay, I'm going to hand them a stat, count them out, whatever, 7. Okay, boom. You can take one, pass them down. So what I want you to do is put your name at the top, and I want you to only check the yes, no questions. When you're done with that, I want you to flip it over, okay, and look up and give me eye contact so I know we can move on as a group. Okay, and then they did it. 3 questions. I have the first time I have them right. I'm going to tell them at the top. You can't say 1, 2, 3, right? And then they'll give enough room. At the top corner, and I show them with a piece of paper, the top left, I want you to write number 1. I want you to write explain, training, and pay. And y'all don't literally need to write it down because it will say it. It should say it on there. Yeah, it does. Explain, training, and pay right here under wrap up. Okay. Now, why do I want them to explain the training and the pay?
Make sure it's clear.
Make sure it's very clear so when mommy asks, they can explain it. Does that make sense? A confused mind says no. We're selling a job. Does everyone get that? Okay. Now, so a confused mind says no. So make sure that they're clear on the training and the pay. The second question, what are 5 goals you have for yourself over the next 4 years? I want to do a little selling here, right? And I'm also finding genuine reasons on why I actually want to work with the kid, right? So, you know, I want to graduate with a 4.0 because blah, 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 or whatever the case may be. You're always going to get the same answers, like graduate college, right? And sometimes maybe get married, have family, you know, whatever, right? Okay, but if it's in the next 5 years, maybe you don't get all that either. Okay, all right. And then the last question, why should I be selected? Now, the reason I want them to write that, because I want them to start getting their answers in their head. So when I pull them back for the post, that's my final question. So why do you feel like I should hire you? And now they're like, because I've already given them the time to plan it out. So now they've actually done a decent job selling themselves at the end. So when I do bring them onto the team, they earned it. They feel like they earned it because they started thinking in advance. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay. Those are the 3 questions. It also gives them multiple things to do, right? Because it's going to take them maybe 20 minutes till I get to them if they're one of the last people I call back. Does everyone understand that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, then you need to nail the PR talk, right? You need to average 5 PRs ahead. Know that number, okay? So it's like at the bottom, okay, is where you have an opportunity to recommend people that we know. Now, this is an invitation, not an obligation, but a very strong invitation. Did y'all see that? It's an invitation, sweet, not an obligation, okay? But very strong. You better jump out your phone or I'm going to not give you the job. Does that make sense? Does everybody feel that? Okay, all right, one more time. Okay, now this bottom section is where you have the opportunity to recommend your friends to the position. Now, this is an invitation, not an obligation, but a very strong invitation. Everybody get that? Okay, you better dump your phone. Okay, Now, we're looking for people who want to be a part of the team, blah, 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 be an A player, okay? And then the main thing that you need to stress to them, okay, is that it's okay to take out your cell phone. Okay, so it should say somewhere in there, like, hey, I know people don't know everybody off the top of their head. Feel free to take out your cell phone, okay? You skim through that real quick, Elizabeth, make sure it says somewhere it says feel free to take out your cell phone. Do y'all see it anywhere in there?
Yeah.
All right, good. So you want to make sure that they know, because if my phone's on airplane mode, right, I'm still at the end of the interview, I'm like scared to pull out my cell phone. I don't know, am I allowed to, blah, blah, blah. Make sense? Off the top of my head, I only know one phone number, right, et cetera, right? So it's like, take out your cell phone. Make sense? Yes? Okay. Now, that's how you can also know if you ran a good interview is based on how many PR names that you pull up. Know that. If you're averaging 5 or more, you're probably going to have good shoulder training. If you're averaging like 2, you're probably going to have a bad shoulder training because they didn't believe in the position enough to even recommend their friend. Does everyone get that? The line in the sand is 5. So I'd write that down under your PR thing. Line in the sand is 5. 4.9 is not a good job. 5.0, great job. 5.1, great job. 90 million, maybe you're too aggressive, okay? Right? But the point is, you should be around the like 5 to 8 to 10. You know, if you're like over 10, then you're probably like overbearing and, you know what I mean? You must too, right? Okay, but you want to make sure that you have your comfortable medium there. But I'm telling you right now, it's a great indication of what your shoulder training is going to be. Everyone gets that? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Now, and then I usually say, hey, I'm going to call people back in random order. It doesn't matter if you're the first person or the last person. Hey, again, it's going to be completely random. So, and then I separate them. This is a very important thing. I see kids still don't do this, right? You don't want to sit them side by side, leave them there in a straight freaking line. You're just asking them to talk to each other. Really, in an interview process, in your perfect world, you don't want anyone to talk to anybody. You don't want any talking to ever occur without you present. You want to make sure there can never be a negative talk. Does everyone understand? Right? So I always keep my sharpest kids at the table because I'm going to have like stuff laid out like sharp kid packets, Wall Street Journal, blah, blah, blah. So I'd probably have my sharpest kid right here. My next sharpest kid I bring to this side of the table, next sharpest kid here. Right? Then I'm just going to spread the kids out along in the room. Okay? And if there is anyone that you'll know when you own somebody, right? Like I freaking own you. You know what I'm saying? Like when you just crush that interview, it's like, right? Are you with me? Okay. That kid, right? The kid that you think that you may not be like, that might not be 100% in, sit that kid closest to the door. So if they do get up and leave, which they probably are not, but if they did, it's not like in front of the whole group. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Right? Like if that was the door and I see that George is not impressed, I'm going to put George right by the door. Does that make sense? I want to get him and be like, this ain't for me. Right? And then, right, then you got your little sheep effect because no one can be their own person, no backbone. Does that make sense? Yes, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right, so, all right, let's do a very quick review. Okay, now, this is what, now as you can see, your pre-screen, you have 2 weeks, right? And, you know, some of you got A, some of you got like a D. Make sense? No, that's okay. I was the kid that got the F. Just so y'all understand. That was me. I was that kid. All right? So I wasn't Joe. I wasn't the perfect kid. He was like the model student. Does that make sense? Joe's wonderful. Okay? Some of y'all are the model students. That's great. I want more of you, Christina. My perfect one. That's what I tell her all the time. No, I was not. I needed to get that little kick in the face, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm not. Because see, here's what happened to me, by the way, right? During Droper School, I saw kids that I knew I'm not going to say like better than, but I felt I was more talented than. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and they beat me because they out-prepared me. And I'm like, never again am I going to let a kid out-prepare me. And understand, one question that you should be asking yourself, specifically the vets, right? What am I doing to make sure I'm the number one branch? What am I doing right now to separate myself from everyone else? Right now, while I'm slacking off, what's the number one branch doing right now? You see what I'm saying? Now, going back to the topic, my point is I don't care if you flopped it all on your first one, right? I don't care at all because that's what I did, right? I love seeing the kid that did get the bad grade come back and dominate because I feel like that's a little mini-me. Does that make sense? Are you with me? Now, if you were great from the beginning, that's good for you, okay? All right? Now, that is good, right? You did better than me. You were more buttoned up, right? So, but my point, this section's a lot longer. I'm going to break it down on our next prep. Right now, let's just say that the first parts that we're going to make sure that we're good through, okay, will be the interview through the product, okay? So the interview through the product are the first things that we're going to go through. It's through the first 3 pages. The product section should be pretty simple for y'all anyways. Does that make sure you're not reading the product section? That'd be embarrassing. Our Subaru shears come apart for easy cleaning. Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Come on. Right. Another thing, product section. Okay. Now,
Memorize 1, 2, 3.
you don't need to have, here's what's awesome for y'all. Everybody get this. I don't have any of them memorized. Right now, I can look at it and I'll know the rest of the paragraph, and I hadn't run one in several years. Does that make sense? Okay. The good thing when you're doing an hour or a 35-minute thing, everyone has notes when you run an interview. The president of the country, if he gives a 5-minute speech, has a script out. It's normal to use a script there. It's not normal, okay, when you're doing a 2-minute pre-screen if you can't explain what the job is without having to read a piece of paper. Does that make sense? But when I'm doing an hour or a 35-minute long thing now, okay, this is very normal. It's okay to have them. Again, what are my 2 stances? Bam, bam. I always had my notes out. Some people may say different. I don't know if Elizabeth does or not, right? 100% of the interviews I ran in my life, I had my script out. I ran more interviews than everybody else in the room combined, period, right? I would always have my notes out no matter what. What's the worst thing that can happen? No one's not going to show because I have notes for a 35-minute long interview. Back in the day, it used to be like hour 45. Does that make sense? Okay? So I expected interviews to be at 33 pages, so you know. Yours is 10, and then with the margins and stuff, it's 11 now, but it's 10. All right, cool. So review those notes. This is the most important part. Okay, if you didn't get great on your pre-screen, then make sure that you feel very good and comfortable with that. This is where we're moving, okay? Now, also, it's not a 2-week deal here. You got a month now, right? Okay, we all have to be back here till October 21st, right? And make sure that you have your stuff down. Does that make sense? But we're going to break it down over the next month. We're going to keep breaking this down section by section, make sure you feel really good with it. For the new kids, you'll need to step up on it. Okay? And for the vets that learned, the interview is going to be almost identical, right? Okay, so, but do get on this script because these kids are going to be watching you. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay? All right. Will you go grab the managers? I want really just Brent in here. Okay, now, all right, questions, comments, feedback, mainly looking to hear from the vets. Questions, comments, feedback.
I really love the what do we do when we have questions thing. I wrote that down. That's awesome. And then also something I like to do at the beginning of my interviews, especially if it's 10 or more, is I'll memorize everyone's names before the interview gets started, and I'll say just make sure I have everyone's names up right, and I rattle everyone's names off.
If you can do that, that's really impressive. I could not do that, so I do not. Okay? But if you can, do it. Herrick's really good with names. I'm not. So I fan him out. Okay? Now, all right, what else? Big takeaways, because we're not where I need to be timing-wise.
To piggyback off what she said, just a tip is when you are calling them up, make clear eye contact with them so that way they know that you know who they are. And then one that I liked is how you said, I hope it works out for a couple of you guys when you're like prepping.
Right. Yeah. And I hope, hopefully, it can work out for a couple of you. Mm-hmm. Right. Because if you say, I hope, right, like unnecessary, right. So hopefully it'll work out for a couple. Okay. All right, Jake.
I was just gonna ask a question.
Go ahead.
Oh.
This was the most important part. If I cut my entire goals talk out, that's fine with me.
I mean, you said that usually, they should be able to answer the questions, but what if you call on someone else and they say wrong answer too?
Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're asking them the right way, it's not going to happen. Okay. So at the best case scenario, 1 out of 200 will that happen to you. Right. So then in that scenario, you would just say the answer. Right, and want to punch yourself in the face. Okay. Now, you know what? Hold on. Get this, Thomas, real quick. You want to write this down? I know you're about to use the restroom. Okay. Here, this is very important. What you're going to realize when I get my interview out to you guys, all my kids are answering questions. They are competing for the job. All that you have to do when you have their applications fanned out, right? When I ask the first question is a group question. It says something like, so why do you guys think? So I got them fanned out. Everybody kind of get this. This is good. So I have them fanned out, okay, with their names so I can see it. All right, so guys, and y'all for real answer the questions. So guys, why do you think that we run these in a group setting? Now you'll probably be raising your hand or something here, but okay. All right. Well,
Save time.
okay. Yeah, definitely. Okay. If I did everyone one-on-one, it would take my whole day away. Okay. Anyone else?
But he said it was competitive.
Okay. All right. Competitive. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Anyone else? Anyone else?
See how we communicate, how we.
No, I wouldn't have asked twice if it was a real interview, but you also would have all said something if it was a real interview. All I'm doing is putting a little mark on their page, right, when they answer a question. They all watch me make that mark. Now they all want to, right? So if there's 5 people, let's just say, okay, all right, and it's, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Okay, and let's say everyone's answered except Issa, right? Okay, anyone else? Like, I'm giving you a chance. I'm giving you a chance. And it's important on that first question that everyone's answering questions because it sets the tone for the rest of the interview. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The worst feeling ever, not really, but in running interviews, one of the worst feelings running interviews is where you ask a question, you get crickets. What's 1 + 1? And they give you this face. It's priceless. You're going to like it, Lexi. You ready? What's 1 + 1? Okay? It's like, so how do you think the customers react to that? Right? And you're like, they're impressed, dude. Okay? Now, so anyways, but when you answer, when you get them competing at the beginning, and see that, by the way, gets the competitive juices flowing. That one simple thing right there gets them competing. Does everyone understand that? Right? Okay? Very important. Okay? We're going to take, well, I'll take as much time as we need to. Okay? All right. Originally, you had 30 minutes for your talk anyways. Is that right? Right? Okay. All right. Perfect. Maybe I'll do my goals in fast, or I just will cut it. I have no problem with cutting it. Okay. All right. CJ.
Do you make the marks throughout the interview, or is it just for the first question?
You know what? I just do it for the first question because it just sets the tone. But you can, I would just do it for the first question because it'll take too long for all of them throughout the time. Okay.
I do it like when they're not.
I'm sorry. Speak up.
I do it like when they're not like as better than questions.
Okay. If you notice that it died off, you would start doing it again. Yeah. All right. Mine won't die off. When you do it the right way, it won't die off. Just so you know. But if you felt like it was dying off, that'd be a perfect time to do it again. Absolutely. That's great. That's good. How many interviews have you ran? Okay. That's really observant that you get stuff like that early in the game.
I had a question. I had learned somewhere that you weren't supposed to be like, yes, exactly correct. And you should say like, you was more like a sure, okay, anyone else? Like,
Yep.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah. Did you notice? I'm like, yeah, I'd agree with that. Anyone else? I say it's like the same thing. Yeah, I'd agree with that. You see the nonverbals? Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, of course you know that answer. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, right. You're gonna say it like that, right? Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. I've had some really, really impressive answers in my life, right? Like some just blow your freaking socks off. Like, well, I believe that we do this because if you do the word of mouth, then it's going to cut out of advertising. And I don't know if people would necessarily go to the store for the knife, but if someone doing it at their house and blah, 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 they compared it at home, blah, blah. And you're just like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. I freaking want to. But I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. For real, right? Okay, but you're like holding it back because you're like so impressed. Don't be into it. I want you to think of it like a first date. Okay? First date, right? Okay? If it was your first date, right? Okay, and let's just say CJ because if it was a girl, I'd feel uncomfortable. Okay? Now, but I'm like, oh my gosh, CJ, I love your hair. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, you're like, dude, you're freaking heinous, right? Like, you don't want what wants you. What's pursuing you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You want the hunt. You want the freaking hunt. Does everyone get that? Yes or no? Okay? So, never be impressed. Never, ever, ever be impressed. Does that make sense? Okay? All right.
Who do you pull back first after asking the questions, telling them to write it down? Do you do it all random, or do you actually have an order to it?
Hey, all right, great. I'm going to pull back anyone. If anyone said no, right? Even if it's multiple, which probably will never happen, right? Let's just say these two said no. Okay? All right, I want you over here, you over here, you over here. And then you two, you can just grab your stuff right now and grab a seat in my office. Make sense? Okay? So I'm going to get them out of there immediately. Anyone I feel like I don't own, I'm going to take them out first. Right? And then I'm just going to randomly call them back however I feel. Make sense? Okay? I like that. There's different philosophies. Every recruiter might have a different philosophy, by the way. Some people will be like, I like to call my sharp kids first and get them out quicker. I like to make my sharp kids wait and stress and sweat it out. You see what I'm saying? It just really depends on the person. If it's late at night, I try to let the ladies go first. I'll even say that, right? Because it is getting dark outside, I'm going to go ahead, if no one's stressed for time, I'm going to go ahead and let the ladies, I'm going to call the ladies back first. Okay, so PM Shauna. Make sense? Okay, just really depends on the scenario. I don't think there's a right answer, but I think the only right answer is anyone you don't own, get them out the room first so you don't have them leave and then get the sheep with that. Make sense? Okay. Now, and then I bet Brent might have different philosophy. I bet Elizabeth might have different philosophy. So don't care. Y'all feel it out. Make sense? Okay. All right. Cool. Next question.
I know a lot of people, including me, when I came, I thought it was a scam.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you kind of elephant in the room? You know, for me, everyone was thinking that, that I had my
Okay. I understand what you're saying. If they showed up for the interview, they don't feel that way, or they're at least open-minded to getting all the facts. Does that make sense? You're never going to have someone be like, is this a scam? Or I heard this was a scam. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, for me, like in my office, someone did say it. So like
in the group interview, then that means Jackson wasn't like authoritative. He was like cool, laid back. Was he laid back in the interview, the group interview? He was pretty like intense.
How did he handle it? I mean, the first thing you get into a group interview, I get you.
So then what are you referring to? How did you hear someone in a group say?
Because like, all my friends, like everyone's like, oh no, like don't go to that.
Are you saying they're in a group interview, a kid interrupted the interview and said, I heard it was a scam?
No, like it was just like a talk, like around like everyone.
Okay, so not in a group interview.
Yeah. Like,
right.
just asked
So,
just, like,
but if someone did, let's say crazies, and again, this is like, it's literally never happened in my life, right? Does that make sense? Like ever? But let's say I'm running my group interview, and then say, I heard this was a scam. This will literally never happen. Okay? All right, but go ahead and just say it for me. I'm running the interview. Say, I heard this was a scam. Blah, blah, blah.
I heard this was a scam.
Okay. Now, where did you hear that?
My buddy.
Oh, your buddy? How old is your buddy?
How old is he?
Mm-hmm. 18-year-old. Okay. Did he actually work with our company? No. Okay. Well, does he have friends that work with our company?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And how are his friends doing? Do they currently work here, or did they work here a long time ago? They currently work here. Okay. All right. Who are they?
Jimmy.
Okay, but do you see now this is like would never happen because if the friends are currently working here, they're probably making good money. And I talk about how much money they make. Does that make sense? 99% of the time, just so like for the role playing, if that actually happened, again, it would never happen. Hey, I'd be like, who said that? All right. Oh, how old is that person? Right. Okay. Did they ever work here? No, is the answer. No, they never worked here. Okay, gotcha. Well, you can either make your judgment based on what an 18-year-old kid that never worked here said. Or, oh, I heard it, I read it online. Do you believe everything you read online? Like that face, like, are you dumb? Right? Oh, do you believe everything? Okay, right. Well, here's what I'm telling you. That our company has been in business since 1949. I crush it with facts that are you can't dispute. Make sense? Our company's been in business, Evan, since 1949. Okay? So that's 68 years. We've literally been around longer than Apple, right? Now, we're the largest cutlery company in the United States, in North America, actually. It's a $250 million international marketing firm, right? 1 out of 6 homes in America owns Cutco. Literally, the vice president of ESPN started working with Cutco. The owner and CEO of Uber started with Cutco. As a matter of fact, there is a set of Cutco in the White House. Okay, so I'm not sure what your 18-year-old buddy that never worked here is referring to, but if he has any questions or concerns, you can definitely feel free to give him my information. I'll be more than happy to talk with him later. Now, would you like to hear the rest of get the rest of the factual data in our interview, or would you like to end your interview now?
Whoa.
Okay, all right, but all right. So did everyone? All right. So, but again, guys, see, I know that y'all don't get it yet. It was funny as Martin and I were talking about this. How like the branch candidates always ask these "what if never going to happen" questions, right? But I don't know. Thousands and thousands of people I've interviewed. I've never ever had someone in a group interview like, "I've heard this," right? It's not going to happen. Have you ever had that happen to you in a group? No. Okay. Have you ever had that in a group? No. right? Now, if it was to ever happen, they probably maybe in the pre-screen, like when it's like a more intimate setting. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I heard this, by the way. Hey, yeah, tell me about that, right? Blah, blah, blah. Automatically, I'm just going to go to the credibility of the source, just like anything I would do in life, though, right? If someone's like, I think you should do this to gain muscle, I'm going to be like, well, what's your body fat percentage or something, right? Or they're like, oh, I recommend this in marriage, right? I'm going to be like, well, how long have you been married? Oh, you're single? Automatically, I discredit it. Does that make sense? So my point is that you want to go to the source, the knowledgeability of the source. I'm going to talk about that. Every time I read it on the internet or my 18-year-old friend that didn't work here. Does that make sense? I'm going to squash it, and I'm going to throw some facts out there, and I'm going to be like, what? Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay? All right, so you did good. I'm not getting on your question, but that's how, like, strong I would be, right, if someone asked the question. Does that make sense? So you just squash it, okay, with mad data, like, bam. Does that make sense? That probably won't happen, though, just so you know.
One of the big problems that I have is getting like recommendations for the job at the end. Like
Talk to them one-on-one about that, because we're not even going to go over that right now, okay? But again, it's going to come to your confidence and expectations, and Joe can help you with that. Any other, for time's sake, though, guys, any other questions or comments that you think are really relevant or good points that we need to stress? None? Okay. All right. Beautiful. Now, all right. So review those notes. Okay. Review those notes. Okay. And that's how you run group interviews. And we're going to be talking and breaking it down on our weekly preps.